Hi everybody and welcome back to my modeling channel. Today in this video I will show you how to make some details on the 777, mainly the APU door and the undercarriage. So initially I used some plastic card that I cut at the right dimension of the APU door. Then I made some marks on the fuselage to be able to drill later on the APU door intake. So as you can see I make some marks, and then I will take the dimension, place the APU door basically on the model itself to make some more marks and being able to drill later on the opening part. So now I have to drill basically the holes and the opening with some drilling tool, and then with a very thin blade I finalize and put the opening door at the proper size. Then I had to do some filing, of course, and once everything was filed I was able to have the proper size and the correct dimension for that APU door. So now I will prepare the APU door itself. So what I did, I used some plastic cards and some documentation that I found on the internet with some more pictures. So basically what I will do is I will have the panel itself, then I will put the side of this APU door, put it at the proper dimension, glue it on the panel, and then let it dry for a while. Now that our panel is dry and ready, we're going to be able to apply it and glue it directly where it's supposed to be. So I use some standard glue that I put around the APU intake, and then I will place the APU door by itself and let it dry. Now let's enhance our nose gear. So for this I use the kit of Minicraft, and I will use some plastic tubes and plastic cards to enhance that kit. So initially the kit was not really well detailed, so I decided to enhance the kit by myself. So what I did is I removed the wheels, as you can see, and then on the bottom part you have the place where you will attach the tow bar. So for this, I will use some plastic card once again, and I will remove the front part. Use some plastic cards, put it at the right dimension, use a plastic tube to make the tow bar to be able to be attached on that part. So now my plastic parts are the correct dimensions, so I will use some super glue and attach them to the nose gear. So now I will have to take the dimension of the scissor, as the lower part of the scissor is too thick as well and not at the correct shape. So I will use some plastic cards and reshape it and put it at the correct dimension and at the correct frame. So now, still using some plastic tube, I will add some hydraulic line on the front gear. So for this I put my plastic tube at the correct dimension. Then I add a little bit of a glue and put it. For this I use the pictures that I took on various airports, and I try to do some details. So you could see those pictures a little bit earlier, and you have plenty of documentation as well on the internet. So now the line is done, and then you have basically two big hydraulic actuators who are located just on the lower part of where I just put the hydraulic line. So I use some tube, and as the end is a little bit rounded, I use basically the support of the driller and then some sandpaper and put it at the correct dimension, and then of course I will glue it again on the undercarriage. So once the modification was completed, it was time to paint the nose gear. For these I use some standard light grey, and I cover all the undercarriage. Later on I use of course still the same pictures to have the difference between the metallic parts and of course the grey. And you will see later on that I use always the same pictures for detailing. Now it's time to do the main landing gear, and for this I will remove some cables that I did in the past that I have on the front part, and that part will be removed. As I can see, there is an hydraulic strut, so I will use for this again some plastic tubes, and of course I will have initially to take all dimensions and trim it at the proper length. So now my struts are at the correct lenses, so I will glue them now on the main landing gear, let it dry, and shortly after that I will use again that very thin white plastic card, and I will add some panels basically on the left and the right upper side of the strut, as you could see on the picture. So I will add now some hydraulic line among that white panel, as you could see on the pictures, and basically we will just add them. So that will require some very thin tweezers and of course a little bit of adjustment. So you have to be quite careful on that part. And for this, of course, I will use super glue, as this is have a much stronger grip, and of course as it's dry a little bit faster. Shortly after this, I decided it was time to reassemble the front landing gear. So for this, once again, I will use some super glue and readjust the wheels on the front landing gear. It's now time for painting the main landing gear, do all the adjustments. So basically those struts were on the metallic color, and after that of course I will have to paint the hydraulic line, were normally in black. For this I use normally Tamiya colors, and after that of course I will have to do a little bit of weathering to get the final touch up on the landing gear. So we are now getting close to the end of that tutorial and that detailing of my 777. I hope you enjoyed that video with me. If you did so, please give me a thumbs up. If it's not done, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you soon for some more video about detailing and building models. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.